Okay, it's 12:20. We're back in session. I'm going to take a roll call. Moderator? Well,
This is the moderator.
okay. So it's 12:20. We're back now. And I'll take a roll call before we go on. I'll start with Ricardo Sanchez. Ricardo? Okay, I'll skip over. Cheryl Butler, I see you.
Here.
Okay, Ricardo,
I
thank
thought
you.
you said 12:40, but anyways, okay.
No, 12:20. I said we had 40 minutes.
Okay, I misunderstood you. Okay.
Sorry. Is Shirley Kim back with us? No, okay. Stung Ho,
I'm here.
thank you. Jig Patel,
I'm here.
thank you. Maria Serpa? Maria? Okay, I'll move on to Jason Weiss.
I'm here, Greg.
Thank you. Okay, Albert Wong. Albert? Debbie Villa.
Maria Serpa is present.
Thank you, Maria.
Did you hear me, Greg?
Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Albert, are you back yet? Not yet. Okay. Ricardo's here. I'm here. So we're missing Shirley Kim, who left us earlier, and I'm not sure if she's coming back. And Wong, who will announce himself when he comes back. Okay.
Albert's here. Albert's here.
Thank you, Albert. Okay, I'll turn the meeting back to our administrative law judge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lippy. And I think I saw our petitioner earlier. Yes, Daniel. Oh, I see you. And Ms. Jarvis, I see you as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back on the record. So we are on the record before the California State Board of Pharmacy, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, in the matter of the petition for early termination of probation of Daniel Young, name is OH, agency number 5478, OAH number 2021-030-401. My name is Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. To establish a quorum of the board for the record, I request that each member respond audibly after his or her name is called. Mr. Lippy?
Here.
Ms. Beal?
Here.
Dr. Serpa?
Here.
Ms. Butler?
Here.
Dr. O?
Here.
Mr. Patel?
Here.
Mr. Sanchez?
Here.
Mr. Weiss?
Here.
And Dr. Wong?
Here.
Let the record reflect the quorum of the board is present. Next, if I could have the Deputy Attorney General state her appearance for the record.
Yes, good afternoon. I am Deputy Attorney General Christina Jarvis, and I am appearing on behalf of the Attorney General for the people of the state of California. My role here is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. Thank you.
All right, and Dr. Daniel O, if I could have you state your appearance for the record, please. You're currently muted.
Hi, my name is Daniel O.
Okay, thank you. All righty, so Mr. O, or excuse me, Dr. O, you may have recalled at the very beginning when we, just before we started the very first hearing, I kind of went over the procedure. I'll go over it real quickly just to refresh your recollection in case you've forgotten since then. but we'll follow the same format as we did this morning, and that is Ms. Jarvis will offer the petition and supporting documents, and then provide a short overview of the history of the discipline of your license. After that, you will be allowed to make a presentation under oath to explain why you believe your petition should be granted. After you make your presentation, Ms. Jarvis will have the opportunity to ask any questions. After she finishes with her questions, I'll ask you if you have anything else you want to say, and we'll do that back and forth format between you and Ms. Jarvis until you've said everything you wanted to say on your behalf. And then last, I will ask the board if there are any questions that they have. And just to remind you, what the board is particularly concerned with is any rehabilitation you may have engaged in since your license was placed on probation. And then after the hearing, the board will go in closed session to deliberate. So you will not receive a decision today, but will receive one sometime in the future. Do you have any questions with the procedure?
No, I do not.
Okay. Let's see. So Ms. Jarvis, if you'd like to proceed with your documents.
Yes, thank you. Exhibit 1 in the packet provided is the jurisdictional packet, which includes the notice of hearing, consent for electronic recording, memorandum to the board, and the underlying decision and order for the petition to revoke, the underlying decision and order. Thank you.
Right, so those documents are marked collectively as Exhibit 1. Dr. Daniel O, do you have any objection to Exhibit 1 for all purposes?
I do not have any objections, Your Honor.
One is so admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Then I also have Exhibit 2, the petition packet submitted by petitioner, including 54.5 hours of continuing education certificates taken from July of 2018 through December of 2019. Excuse me. Thank you. The petitioner also submitted 7 letters of recommendation, 6 of which were able to be verified. All of the letters were very positive. 5 out of the 6 were aware of the board's disciplinary action, and the 6th met petitioner in AA and spoke more about the recovery. All agreed that petitioner is focused on recovery and sobriety, and they do not believe he will fall back into addiction. So I ask that that packet be submitted as Exhibit 2.
Documents are marked collectively as Exhibit 2. Dr. Daniel O, do you have any objection to 2 for all purposes?
No, I do not.
All right, 2 is so admitted. Any further documents, Ms. Jarvis?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and Dr. Daniel O, did you have any additional documents you wanted to have marked and admitted?
I've done extra continuing education courses. I have about 34 extra hours I did from the time I sent a request for early termination of probation until now, which includes completing the advanced pharmacy practice education, a lot of COVID-19.
Before you go into too much, I don't want to take your testimony just quite yet, but do you have any additional documents you wanted to have marked?
No other documentation, Your Honor, except I guess extra continuing education documents.
Do you have those documents? Or did you want to just testify about them?
I'll testify about them, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Jarvis, if you'd like to provide your summary.
Yes, thank you. This matter arose due to the denial of an application for licensure. Dr. O appealed, and a statement of issues was filed on June 13th, 2015, which resulted in a stipulated settlement for a 5-year probation term. That term was effective April 28th, 2016. Petitioner has therefore satisfied the requisite years in order to be able to petition for this early termination. The underlying facts of the statement of issues: in 2007, petitioner was convicted of being drunk in public, stemming from an incident where officers found petitioner passed out from intoxication in a gutter of the street with a towel over his head. When the officers finally managed to rouse him, petitioner struck and kicked at the officers. In 2008, petitioner was convicted of DUI with a blood alcohol content of 0.22%. In 2015, petitioner was convicted of DUI again with a blood alcohol content of 0.17%. And at that time, he was also illegally in possession of marijuana. Finally, when petitioner applied for his intern pharmacist license in 2012, he marked no to the question of whether he had ever had a criminal conviction, thereby being untruthful about his 2008 DUI conviction. Now, petitioner has been fully compliant with probation at this time. And that's all I have. Thank you, Your Honor.
Great, thank you. So Dr. Daniel O., do you have any witnesses you wanted to call to testify other than yourself?
No, just myself, Your Honor.
Okay, if I could have you raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may put your hand down. So whenever you're ready, you may begin your testimony.
Hello, Your Honor, Honorable Judge, Honorable Board members, DAG Jarvis. I made some mistakes in my past. I totally admit I was drunk in public, and during which when I was awakened, I was startled, and I may have kicked the officer. In 2008 or 9, I also got a DUI, and in 2015, I also got another second DUI, and with marijuana in my car. I'm very remorseful. I made those mistakes in my past, and I've been doing everything I can to be rehabilitated. During which in 2014, soon after I got the DUI, I turned myself in to the pharmacist recovery program. In 2014, I was in the pharmacist recovery program under Maximus, and I was on Maximus through my intern license, which was expired in 2015. And in 2015, I was off the pharmacist recovery program through not having a pharmacy license, and I joined Pacific Assistance Group, which is a monitoring program which allows for random drug screens, seeing the same, joining the same health support group as I did in 2014, and continued a paper trail with my sobriety date being October 14, 2014, which is October 16, 2014, which is about 6 years and 5 months of sobriety, and during which I was drug tested, went to AA, and was compliant with all the recommendations that was asked of me. In 2016, I was granted a pharmacist license as long as I passed the CPJE. And after I passed the CPJE, I was re-enrolled in Maximus again, Pacific Assistance, or Maximus as in the pharmacist recovery program, which started my beginning of my sobriety again from 2016 for 5 more years. During which I have done the requested 125 hours of community service every year. I've been doing random drug screens with a paper trail, and being clean and sober. I've done 90 days of rehabilitation at the Ranch Recovery Center in 2014. I I've done aftercare at Hoag Hospital. I've done numerous things to help me maintain my sobriety. I joined I'm currently in a health support group, although it's not required. And one of my letters of recommendation was from Kirby Palmer, which I guess the telephone was, after COVID began, he started working from home and did not pick up his office telephones. Therefore, there was no, he did not respond to the phone call. And I also see a therapist, Curtis R., and he fully supports my ability to go back to work off probation, and he spoke with a member of the board regarding that on a telephone call. I've done everything required, and I've been trying to stay humble and try my best to help others. One of the main things I work on is I have a mentor in Alcoholics Anonymous, a sponsor who we say, and I also have a sponsee who I help also to help with sobriety. I keep sobriety at my forefront to make sure that without sobriety, I won't have a life to live. I do my best, and I would like to request early termination of probation for a few different reasons. First, I have over 5 years of sobriety, and that has a paper trail, and studies show that with over 5 years of continuous sobriety, studies show that the chances of success is very, very high, almost in the 90 percentile range. I also completed an advanced practice course over at USC, and I would like to be an advanced practice pharmacist one day. And while being on monitoring and on probation, I'm unable to do so. To ask the board to test and become an advanced practice pharmacist. I also currently work at a pharmacy. I work 40 hours a week, and I didn't always start that way. I started as an intern at Rite Aid in 2014, and then after my intern license expired, they got rid of my ability to be a pharmacist and work at Rite Aid. So during 2014, I did a lot of community service. I did service over at Mariners Church, helping special friends, and this would be helping children of special needs with epilepsy, cerebral palsy, and other disabilities. I did that for about a year or two, and then after I got the ability to get my pharmacist license after testing, I continued to do a lot of service at the Dream Center, where I did majority of my community service hours. The Dream Center is in Los Angeles. We did a lot of dental work, helping the indigent alcoholics, female who were abused and needed a place to stay, and helped with their dental needs. And I was helping with consulting on medical prescription advices. And then I also worked at Irvine Pharmacy, and once I got my license, I worked there since there was tolling on my probation or on my license where I was unable to get a pharmacist. There's tolling until I got a job to work at the pharmacy or pharmacist, and I worked at Irvine Pharmacy in 2007. I believe it was April 2017. And I worked there for about a year or so until I was assaulted and battered, and I was off work again until I found a new job over in Blythe, California, working at Blythe Mart Pharmacy under my new mentor, James Lee, who also wrote a recommendation. I'm continuing to learn. I continue doing continuing education. Since December of 2019, I've done an extra 34 hours of continuing education, which include advanced practice pharmacist, and also doing a lot of continuing education regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. I'd like to request early termination of probation because I've gone above and beyond. I've done so much, and I want to continue advancing in my pharmacy field. I want to continue helping others, and I'd like the grace of the pharmacy board to allow me to continue my education, which it may be in community pharmacy or go into hospital, which would require me to do a PGY1, or also become an advanced practice pharmacist. I'm still young in my pharmacy field, and I'm not exactly sure which direction I want to head at the moment, but I would like the option to at least pick a direction and move forward. I continue to stay sober even without being monitored, and I'm fully confident that I will be able to do so, as in the past 6.5 years, I had no trouble with sobriety. I continue to help others. I continue to join AA and be an active member in Alcoholics Anonymous. I continue to do my therapy and continue my health support group. Currently, I'm working as a pharmacist in Blythe Mart. I work about 40 hours, and I have zero supervision with daily review, meaning that after the end of my shift, the pharmacist will have to oversee what I have done and make sure that everything I've done is correct. And if I'm off probation, it'll also allow the pharmacist in charge to have a little bit of extra time to go on vacation and do other things. And I've been working there for about 3 years now. I really thank you for your time and your consideration. And if you have any questions for me, please ask.
Great. Thank you. Ms. Jarvis, cross-examination.
Yes, thank you. Dr. O, so do you consider yourself an alcoholic then?
Yes, I do. I made some mistakes, and I do my best to stay sober, and I'll continue staying sober. Sobriety is very important to me. It is where I built my community of people who I can trust, who I can help, and who I can get support from.
So do you intend to abstain from alcohol for the rest of your life at this point?
Yes, I do.
And then can you clarify for me, I know you talked about it quite a bit, but there were different dates in there. What do you consider to be your sobriety date, the date after which you have not consumed any alcohol?
It was October 16th, 2014.
Okay, because you about your 2016 second sobriety. Were you just talking about your PRP program?
with my PRP program, the sobriety date, they consider it the very first day you test sober. And because I started again in 2016, they on paper it has a different sobriety date.
I see. Okay, thank you. Now, you mentioned briefly that you were assaulted in the pharmacy, and I don't want to go too much into the details, but it's true that you were assaulted by one of the owners of the pharmacy where you were working. Is that right?
Correct.
And he was actually later criminally convicted for that assault.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I understand that Blythe, where you currently work, is pretty far from your residence and you have to commute. Is that still correct?
No, I live in Blythe. currently.
Okay.
And no, commute is about 3 minutes from work.
That's not bad. So do you intend to keep working for that pharmacy then, if you are released from probation?
I want to continue working. However, I do have some point in my mind to become a pharmacy owner one day. And I'm not exactly sure where that's going to take me. I mean, Blythe's is a great spot where I was able to learn from my mentor. However, depending on the opportunity, I may have to go elsewhere.
And I see where my confusion was. When you started working for this pharmacy in Blythe, you were then living in Orange County?
I lived in Orange County in beginning of my pharmacy career in 2016. I moved out to Blythe in 2018.
And was that for purposes of taking this job?
Correct.
Your current probation term is scheduled to terminate next month. Is that right? Or was there a tolling period?
I have a tolling period, and in my tolling period, it says that it'll end in, I believe it was May of 2022 is what I saw on the paper, because I had tolling. I'll be effectively done with the pharmacist recovery program. I believe it's next month, April, May, and during which I will continue my sobriety and figure out about, I guess I have to be monitored, so I'll figure out where I will do my drug testing, I believe. But I should be done with Maximus in April or May.
Okay, and it makes sense you were told you had to find a new job after the incident with the owner of the other pharmacy that you worked at. Is that right?
Correct. I believe I was told for about 4 or 5 months.
Okay. And I see a new anticipated end of probation date is May 1st, 2022. So the very beginning of May.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I have no other questions. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Daniel O, is there any other testimony you wanted to provide on your behalf?
I'd like to thank you for your time and consideration. I really appreciate your grace.
All right, thank you. Next, I'll take questions from the board. Mr. Lippy, any questions?
Yes, 1 or 2. Did you work all the 12 steps at AA?
Correct. I've worked all 12 steps multiple times each year. I've done the steps about 3 to 4 times, Your Honor, or
Great.
President.
Okay. Congratulations on your sobriety. I have no other questions.
Ms. Beal, any questions?
I have no questions. Congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank you.
Dr. Serpa, any questions?
I have no questions, and thank you, Dr. O, for your testimony.
Ms. Butler, any questions?
No questions. Thank you for coming before us.
Okay, Dr. Sung Oh, any questions?
No questions. Thank you for coming and congratulations on your sobriety.
Mr. Patel, any questions?
No questions. Congratulations on your sobriety, Dr. O.
Thank you.
Mr. Sanchez, any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Weiss?
No questions. Thank you for appearing before us, Dr. O, and congratulations on your years of sobriety.
Thank you.
And Dr. Wong?
No question, Your Honor.
Okay. Have any of the board members thought of any subsequent questions in the meantime? All right, hearing none, Dr. Daniel O, you're excused as a witness. Dr. Daniel O, did you have any other additional other additional evidence you wanted to present?
No, not at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Jarvis, do you wish to give a closing argument?
Just a recommendation, Your Honor. I will note for the board's knowledge that petitioner's probation monitor feels that petitioner has matured into a responsible and caring pharmacist and currently has an excellent mentor in his PIC. I have no other recommendation for the board. Thank you.
Great. Dr. Daniel O, do you wish to give a closing argument?
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking this time to help me get back on my feet.
All right, thank you very much. So the record's closed, the matter's submitted, and we are off the record. Great. Mr. Lippy, shall we proceed with the last matter, or does the
Yes.
board wish? Okay.
Let's proceed. Thank you.
All right, Madam
Excuse me,
Moderator.
Greg, can I take 5 minutes, please?
Okay. Well,
Okay, let's take 5 minutes. We'll come back in 5 minutes.
This is the moderator. I just wanted to confirm if we were back from break.
should be. Cheryl?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we need to take a another roll call. So let's go ahead. Cheryl, I know you're here now. Sung-Oh?
Here.
Thank you. Jig Patel?
Here.
Thank you. Maria Serpa? Maria? Are you muted? Jason Weiss?
Here.
Thank you. Albert Wong?
I'm here.
Thank you. Debbie Veal?
Here.
Thank you. Ricardo Sanchez?
Here.
Ricardo? Thank you. Okay. Maria, are you back?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we can go ahead.
Okay, let me make sure you see Ms. Jarvis. Yes. And Mr. Naban, are you on?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So let's go ahead and go on the record. We are on the record before the California State Board of Pharmacy, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, in the matter of the petition for reinstatement of Ahmad, A-H-M-A-D, Shati, S-H-A-T-I, Naban, N-A-B-H-A-N, agency case number 3482, OAH number 2021-030394. My name is Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. To establish a quorum of the board for the record, I request that each member respond audibly after his or her name. Mr. Lippy?
Here.
Ms. Veal?
Here.
Dr. Serpa?
Here.
Ms. Butler?
Here.
Dr. O?
Here.
Mr. Patel,
Here.
Mr. Sanchez,
Here.
Mr. Weiss,
Here.
and Dr. Wong.
Here.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that a quorum of the board is present. Next, Ms. Jarvis, if I could have you state your appearance for the record. Oops, Ms. Jarvis, you're currently muted.
Is it?
Or actually, you're not muted, but we've lost audio with you. We still can't hear you.
What happened? They cannot hear us?
Not us.
This is the moderator, Miss Jarvis. You may want to try connecting your audio through a phone device. It seems like the computer audio is not picking up your microphone. Thank you, co-moderator. We have instructions up on the screen for your reference on how to do that.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Naban, you're also present?
Yes, Your Honor.
And who do you have with you?
This is my son.
Good
Oh,
morning, Your
okay.
Honor. My name is Haroon Naban, Haroun. I'm Ahmed's son. I happen to be an attorney, but I'm not representing him in this proceeding. I'm just here in a supportive role to help him with the technical issues, and I'm happy to give a statement as well to the board if that would be helpful to this matter.
Okay, all right. So Dr. Naban, as you may recall, before we started the hearings early this morning, I went over the procedural, how this matter will proceed procedurally, but I'll refresh in case you've forgotten. I'll go over briefly. The Deputy Attorney General will introduce the petition and supporting documents, and then provide an overview of the history of the discipline of your license. And then next, you'll have an opportunity to make a statement under oath explaining why you believe your petition should be granted. And I remind you that what the board is most interested in hearing about is any rehabilitation you have engaged in since your license was revoked. After you provide your testimony, Ms. Jarvis will have an opportunity to ask questions. After she asks her questions, you'll have the opportunity to provide any further testimony you may have, and it will be that back and forth process between you and Ms. Jarvis until you've completed your testimony. And then after that, the board will have an opportunity to ask questions. After the hearing, the board will meet in closed session to deliberate on your petition, so a decision will not be issued today. Do you have any questions about the procedure?
Thank you, Your Honor. Everything is okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Ms. Jarvis, would you like to present your documents?
Yes, at this time, I'd like to present Exhibit 1 as the jurisdictional information for the hearing, including the notice of hearing, consent for electronic recording, memorandum to the board, and the decision and order after non-adoption of the proposed decision in this matter.
Great. Those documents are marked collectively as Exhibit 1 for identification. Dr. Naban, do you have any objection to 1 for all purposes?
No objection.
Okay, 1 is so admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Then Exhibit 2 is the petition packet submitted by the petitioner. That includes proof of completion of 133.25 hours of continuing education from October of 2018 through March of 2020. Now, petitioner submitted a total of 395.25 hours. The difference of 250 or so hours came before October of 2018, back to at least 2014 from my review. Additionally, respondents submitted 14 letters of recommendation, 10 of which were verified by board staff. And I ask that that all be admitted as Exhibit 2.
Those documents are marked collectively as Exhibit 2. Dr. Naban, any objection to 2 for all purposes?
It's so
No, actually, I submitted more hours. I think I have more than 170 hours.
okay.
Your Honor, I did submit more. Because I took a course of pain management, and I took another course in substance abuse, and I did also more continuous education. I think you add to what you add to that another 70 hours at least.
All right, so are there additional documents you want to introduce?
Yes.
Okay, do you have those documents?
I do. Yes, I do have them here. This is
Okay, actually, before we go to your documents, first, do you have any objection to Exhibit 2?
no objection, Your Honor.
All right, so 2 is admitted for all purposes. So have you seen what's Exhibit 2?
Yes.
And you believe there's additional documents you have in addition to Exhibit 2?
Well, yes, the one I mentioned, that the substance abuse, I took also ethic courses. I take an ethic course, like 2 days ethic course, and with the follow-up, and I took and the substance abuse course, and also the pain management course.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you want to just testify about them, or do you want to submit the documents? If you submit the documents,
I have a statement I'd like to read.
Hey, Dr. Naman, let me finish. If you want to submit the documents, that's not going to happen. That can't happen today because we're not in person. So that means the board won't be able to make a decision until it gets your documents. So if you do have the right to present the documents if you want, but I just want to let you know that's going to delay a decision in your case. If you are comfortable enough and want to just testify about them, you could do that, and then we could take that evidence today.
Yes, I will testify.
So do you want to forego introducing the documents?
Yes, I did. I did actually submit the document to the board. Maybe it was a late.
Dr. Naban.
Yes,
Dr. Naman,
yes,
you have to understand, we don't have them.
You don't have them.
If you want to submit them, you may. But if you submit them, then you're going to have to mail them to the board, and that's going to take a couple days, and so that will delay the board making a decision.
I think that's
Alternatively, you can just provide your testimony.
That will be fine.
What will be fine?
Your Honor, if I may, I think my father would like to submit the additional documents as an amendment to his petition. If that delays a decision, by a little bit of time, I think that would be fine with him, right?
Well,
Yes.
And Your Honor, this is Christina Jarvis. I'm wondering if maybe we should go off the record and Dr. Naban and I can talk about what we actually have here, because it seemed to me that everything that he referenced is in Exhibit 2. So I'm not sure if maybe he just didn't see them, but I have everything that was submitted to the board in Exhibit 2.
So let's go ahead and go off the record. Well, let's go ahead and stay on the record because I don't want to miss anything. So Dr. Naban, that's why I asked you, do you have a copy of Exhibit 2 in front of you?
Yeah, we have.
Yes.
Have you reviewed all of Exhibit 2?
And these here.
So
yeah.
Do you have like certificates?
These, yeah. Yes.
So do you?
Your Honor, I think the best thing for me is just to submit. I did submit them actually to the board, but maybe they don't have them, or they receive them late.
Dr. Naban,
again.
Dr. Naban, let me suggest page 193 of your CE certificates, because you submitted over 400 pages. is the ethics and professionalism program, that 2-day program that you mentioned.
Yes.
We have over 300 hours, almost 400 hours of your continuing ed that you did submit, and we do have to consider.
Okay.
Does that sound?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
yes, yes.
That's why I asked, have you seen all of Exhibit 2? Have you seen all the documents in Exhibit 2?
Yes, yes, I will say yes, yes.
Are you saying there are more documents other than what is in Exhibit 2?
Well, the one I am talking about is the because I didn't play the substance abuse and the pain medication.
What I'm trying to determine is, are you sure those documents are not already included in Exhibit 2?
No, no mention of them in Exhibit 2, no.
So you've looked at all of Exhibit 2 and you're saying that it is not included?
Talking about all of it. I beg your pardon, Your Honor. If I could just ask Mr. Navan. So what they're saying is, did you submit anything after March?
Yeah.
After you
Yes,
submitted all
yes,
this?
yes, of
You
course,
did-
yes,
You
yes,
submitted
yes.
stuff after?
Yes,
after
yes,
you did-
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay, so then.
Yeah, I did submit after March 13, 20. I believe in about maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, I submitted more documents, and the board I sent them with a return address, and it is stamped to say that it is received. If it's too much trouble, I mean, I can, if even if you're gonna delay the decision, I can send them, I can submit it again.
All right, so Mr. Lippy, I guess, how does the board wish to proceed if Dr. Navan
Well,
wants to?
I'll tell you, I believe what Ms. Jarvis said. I looked through them all and I saw certificates showing the exact same things he's talking about. So, and he was just asked if he submitted after March 13th, and he said a few weeks ago he submitted, but March 13th was only 5 days ago. So, you know, if if he still wants to submit again or more, then I guess we'll just let him do that. I think we can go on with the hearing, have him submit after the fact.
Okay. And then will the board meet in closed session after he submits those documents?
Yes.
I guess we would have to do that.
Okay, will that require re-agendizing the matter?
Well, we could ask our counsel if it would. Is our counsel in here?
I didn't see her name.
Yes, President Lippy, I'm here. I think
Oh, okay, good.
do the petition again. Well, actually, we might have to if they're going to introduce it, but I think what we may want to do is go off the record and take a look, because there were supplemental CE certificates submitted to the board, and I think what Deputy Attorney General Jarvis was saying is they may already be incorporated in
Right.
too.
Okay.
So
Yeah, let's, oh, sorry. Sorry, Ms. Sabayan, go ahead.
So you said you wanted to go off the record and check?
Yeah,
Yeah,
why don't we
do
that?
I can talk to Deputy Attorney General Jarvis.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and go off the record. So, Mr. Lippy, do you want to take a 10-minute recess?
Yes, let's
Okay,
do
so
that.
let's go ahead and take a 10-minute recess. It's 1:16 at this time. Let's come back at 1:26. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Dr. Naban, if you have those CE certificates on your computer already, you could email them to me right now and I can take a look also, and that might help. Since we're going to go off the record for 10 minutes, that will give me a few minutes to look at them. If you don't have them scanned in, I don't think you can do it in 10 minutes, but if you do, I could do that.
Yeah, Ms. Jarvis, I don't think we have them scanned in. We have hard copies in front of us. But I could review what we do have with my father and see if that seems like all the certificates that he submitted.
Okay.
I just emailed you what we got in the way of supplemental certificates.
Okay.
And I sent those to you, Christina Jarvis, what was presented to the board as supplemental to see if they're part of Exhibit 2.
Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't find this in my email, but I was sure that I had received it. So let me check.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure this is all in there because it was 75 pages that were submitted late. Yeah. So let me just confirm by looking at my Exhibit 2, and then I'll come back onto, I'll unmute myself.
Thank you.
Did I interrupt? If I may interrupt, I did send them to Raymond Flores, and I told them I'm going to send you these documents, and it did actually the board stamp it. I did receive it.
Yeah, on March 3rd, 2021, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm sorry, but I did have a return address. It says they did receive it.
Yeah, I have that here, and I'm pretty sure I already incorporated it into Exhibit 2. But if not, since I do have it here, I can upload it to OAH. And I believe the board already received them, but I'm looking at it and I do recognize some of these documents. So I just need to compare the dates. So I'll come right back.
Okay, thank you. Give it for a second.
All right, this is the moderator. While we're on break, I'm going to go ahead and turn off video for everyone, and we'll return back at 1:26.
Okay, it's 1:26. We're back. I am going to take another roll call. So I'm going to Cheryl Butler.
I'm here.
Thank you. Sung Oh.
I'm here.
Thank you. Jake Patel. Jake. You're muted. Jake, are you here? Go on, Maria Serpa. Did you say here?
Maria's here.
Thank you.
Maria's here.
Thank you, Maria. Okay, Jason Weiss. Jason Weiss. I didn't hear you. All right, Albert Wong.
I'm here, Greg.
Thank you. Debbie Veal.
Here, Greg.
Thank you. Jake Patel, are you back?
I'm here.
Thank you. And again, Jason Weiss, I didn't hear you. Are you back? Jason? We have a quorum. Let's go ahead. Did we find out what we needed to?
Hey, Greg, this is Ricardo Sanchez. I'm here also.
Thank you, Ricardo. Did we find out what we were waiting for?
Yes, we did, Board President Lippy. So it appears that the additional continuing submitted by petitioner was provided to the board, which is why you and the other board members recognized it, but it was not uploaded to OAH as part of Exhibit 2 since it came in after the fact. It unfortunately was not uploaded. I have now uploaded it to OAH, and although ALJ Wong probably doesn't have it yet because it only just went through, it is again another very large file of approximately 75 pages. He should have it. The board members now have it, and then I will identify it on the record as probably as Exhibit 3, depending on if ALJ Wong agrees, it'll be Exhibit 3 or part of Exhibit 2.
Okay, is ALJ Wong back with us?
I am. So
Okay.
let's go back. Actually, before we go back on the record, let's decide how do we want to handle it. Do you want to handle it as an addition to Exhibit 2 or just as a new Exhibit 3?
It's probably easier for the record just to identify it as Exhibit 3, since it's going to be a separate file once you receive it. And then I can identify it, and that way Dr. Naban can be sure that those were the full documents that he submitted.
All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and go back on the record. Just to summarize the discussion after that we had off the record, Ms. Jarvis, it's my understanding that there were additional documents submitted by Dr. Naban that were provided to the board members, but were not provided to OAH. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so, but the board members do have them, and they have since been submitted to OAH.
That is correct.
Okay. So,
Yes, we do have them.
okay, good. So since the board's the decision maker in this case, the delay in my getting them doesn't delay the proceedings. So if you would just identify them for the record, Ms. Jarvis, and we'll mark them as Exhibit 3.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Exhibit 3 is going to be additional continuing education certificates submitted on March 2nd or March 3rd, 2021. This includes 213.5 additional hours of continuing ed taken in the years of 2020 and 2021, and 2 certificates of completion for a pain management specialty pharmacist and substances of abuse specialty pharmacist. It entails 75 pages total, which includes a handwritten letter from Dr. Ahmad to his probation monitor, the 2 certificates, several pages of the CPE monitor standard plan, identifying the 213 hours, and then the certificates for each of those classes or sessions that Dr. Ahmad attended.
Very good. Those documents will be marked collectively as Exhibit 3 for identification. Dr. Ahmad, any objection to Exhibit 3 for all purposes?
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry. I think Dr. Ahmad, Dr. Naban meant to say no objection. Exhibits are acceptable.
No objection. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Dr. Naban. All right, thank you. All right, so 3 is admitted for all purposes. Ms. Jarvis, any additional documents?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Naban, I just want to confirm, so with those additional documents, do you have any additional documents that you wanted to have marked and admitted?
No additional.
Okay, very good. All right, Ms. Jarvis, if you'd like to provide your summary.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This matter arose through an accusation filed on August 4th, 2010, followed by a first amended accusation filed on February 24th, 2012. This first amended accusation was 28 pages. It involved approximately 20 patients and 2 prescribers. It should be noted that the board's investigation focused only on these 2 prescribers. So we only looked at these 2. There may have been other issues with other prescribers that simply were not investigated. But there was voluminous evidence developed from these 2 providers alone that was sufficient for this case. I will not cover all of the facts here today. This is a summary with a few highlights. I will make the assumption that the board members have read the first amended accusation, as well as the 47-page decision after non-adoption of proposed decision, which revoked petitioner's license. The public may also refer to these documents through the Department of Consumer Affairs breeze.ca.gov website. Now, the petitioner is here today requesting reinstatement of his pharmacist license, and sufficient time has passed that he does qualify to do so. Now, the causes for discipline that led to petitioner's revocation are that he excessively dispensed controlled substances to approximately 20 patients in violation of pharmacy law, in some cases leading to patient deaths or the exacerbation of drug addictions. Petitioner refilled prescriptions without prescriber authorization, failed to review drug therapies and patient medication records, failed to exercise professional judgment, failed to review patient profiles prior to dispensing medications, and completely all thereby committing unprofessional conduct. In March and April of 2008, 7 patients of a prescriber named Dr. Bass died of drug overdoses. 5 of those 7 patients had filled their prescriptions at Petitioner's pharmacy. And Petitioner, an experienced community pharmacist working as a staff pharmacy at the pharmacy where these violations occurred, ignored many red flags in order to dispense these prescriptions. These red flags included patients who were younger than the average pain management patient, paying in cash, traveling long distances to get to the pharmacy, multiple family members on the same pain management regimens, and then frequently multiple people other than the patient would pick up several prescriptions for patients. The vast majority of the prescriptions issued by Dr. Bass, including the prescriptions for these 5 deceased patients, were identical. Now, there were other staff pharmacists working for this pharmacy, and Petitioner himself specifically filled 40 questionable prescriptions and 4 early prescriptions for patients of this prescriber in the time period examined. Now, in Petitioner's letters of recommendation, he submitted one letter of recommendation by Michael Daher, D-A-H-E-R, the son of Albert Daher, who was the PIC of the pharmacy where these violations occurred. Another of the letters was submitted by Petitioner's son. All of the letters, however, agree that Petitioner is a wonderful man, a wonderful husband and father, volunteers in the community frequently, and should be granted a second chance. It should also be mentioned, that Petitioner has stated in his 2-page statement to the board that at the time of the incidents in question, Petitioner's full-time job was working for the County of Los Angeles as a pharmacist. He worked at the pharmacy in question only twice a week, thereby part-time. Now, Petitioner does also state that he has a deep sadness and regret for the loss of life that occurred. Petitioner can address that more at this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jarvis. Dr. Naban, do you wish to provide your testimony at this time?
Yes, Your Honor, if I may.
Okay. So if you would raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you may put your hand down, and whenever you are ready.
Hello, my name is Ahmed Nabhan. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to request the reinstatement of my pharmacy license. In addition to the declarations I have submitted, I wish to give a brief statement to the board. I would like to use this opportunity to impart sadness and regret that I feel for the unfortunate loss of life that occurred. As a father, I can only imagine the great sense of loss and pain that the families of those who lost loved ones must feel. This terrible incident has implicated my life deeply, but from this tragedy, I have learned a number of valuable lessons. Most importantly, I have learned to never again to trust the assurance of another medical professional over my own professional judgment. I am determined to never repeat the mistakes of the past. Since my previous administrative hearing, I have completed more than 170 hours of continuing education, focusing whenever possible on educational materials dealing with narcotics and pain. In July 2018, I completed a required 2-day course in IMQ ethics and professionalism. In September 2019, I completed a refresher review of the same course. The ethics course was very eye-opening. I also completed 2 courses of substance abuse and pain management. I have also completed significant number of hours of volunteer work. Volunteering has been humbling and very rewarding. I have always taken my responsibilities as a pharmacist very seriously. However, after much reflection, I accept responsibility for my role in this unfortunate incident. I know that I was not careful enough. I honestly and truthfully regret what happened. I made a promise to myself to never repeat the same mistakes. I want to express to the board that I understand the great responsibilities required of a pharmacist. We are trusted by the public to be competent and careful. I take this responsibility very seriously. Each patient life is important and precious. The loss of my pharmacy license has been devastating. For more than 40 years, I worked in the healthcare field, first as a respiratory therapist and later as pharmacist. Working as a healthcare professional gave me a great sense of pride. I miss it tremendously. The loss of my license has also caused me a great deal of financial hardship. I am the sole income earner for a household of four that include a 16-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. Not being able to work has been hard and stressful. I love my children dearly and I want to provide the best for them and be able to give them a bright future. I would like to emphasize that I never intended to break the law or to cause harm to another human being. I never profited from filling prescription for pain medication, and I never had any financial interest in JSCOT. I would like to end by again expressing my remorse for the unfortunate incident that occurred. I ask the board to consider the fact that aside from this incident, I have never had any other disciplinary action against me in more than 40 years. As a medical professional, while this incident was certainly unfortunate, I do not believe that it was the characteristic of my overall competence as a pharmacist. Thank you very much for your consideration. I hope that you will seriously consider my reinstatement without any restriction. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Ms. Jarvis, anything on cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Naban, I know that you provided actually several personal statements to the board, but in one of them you had stated that you never had any financial interest in the pharmacy in question. Can you explain what your relationship was to J. Scott Drugs?
Just a job of a pharmacist, work in their pharmacy, a staff pharmacist, that's all.
Now, you were working for the County of Los Angeles full-time at that time, is that right?
Yes.
What was your job with the County of Los Angeles?
Pharmacist.
And were you working 40 hours a week?
I was 40 hours a week, and 2 days a week I was working for JSCOT, yes.
Okay. And was there a reason that you had this part-time job in addition to your full-time job?
Well, I don't have any family here. I'm the only one from my family here. At that time, I have two children in college. I have to pay to somebody in other country in Jordan to take care of my aging mother, and I really have no other choice, but I have to work, because I don't have no other mean. Just
Did you receive? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I mean, I have to work because I do need it badly to work. And my son here, I mean, he knows how hard I just working and working.
Did you receive any additional financial incentives other than whatever your part-time salary was to fill prescriptions for Dr. Bass or any other prescriber?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm a man of I am a man of honor and dignity, and I pride myself that I do have a kind heart and I have a dignity, a human dignity. Never ever I will accept something like that or lower myself to accept anything.
Thank you. What have you done to support yourself since your revocation?
Well, I have a little pension and a little social security. That's basically we've just doing the best we can.
Have you worked in the pharmacy field at all?
You mean after? No, I did not.
I see in your certificates, the additional CEs that you provided, that you have attained the quality standard and criteria of pain management specialty pharmacist. How did you do that without a pharmacist license?
Well, I mean, I'm of course I'm not gonna be able to do anything until I get. I mean, if I submit it, it's just to go by whatever they ask for. But I know, and I know for sure, I cannot work or cannot be even in a pharmacy because I don't have a license.
Let me ask a slightly more clear question then. What did you have to do in order to obtain the certificate? Did you go to a class? Was it a multi-day class? Can you just explain that a little?
It is online. It's you take the course online, and then you they are each one of them 13 modules, and you take the modules one by one, and once you're done with the 13 modules, then you have to take the final exam, which is at least 100 questions. It's online course.
Based on the education that you've maintained during the time that your pharmacist license has been revoked, do you believe at this time that if the board were to grant you probation, that you would be able to take and pass the NAPLEX or CPJE?
Well, I mean, I can. I mean, yeah, I think I can try, but you know, at my age, I mean, we have to be realistic. You know, I am 73 years old, and you know, the brain is not as you know, as good as you know.
You seem pretty sharp
If
based
you
on all of your
insist, if you
certificates.
insist in taking it, I take it. You know.
Would you also be able to satisfy the other conditions of probation, potentially having a worksite monitor? Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do what?
Would you be willing to satisfy the other standard conditions of probation if they were ordered, such as having a worksite monitor or employment approval by the board?
Oh, sure. I mean, I will do whatever they ask me to do.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Great. Dr. Naban, is there any further testimony you would like to provide on your behalf?
I would like to read, if I don't take much of your time, about the ethic course. What did I learn from that? I think it was a very eye-opener. If you don't mind, I will read a little bit from it.
Okay.
After completing the ethic course and after a lot of reflection and analyzing, I realized what did happen because of my fault, and I was not careful enough. Honestly and truthfully, I deeply regret what happened. I made a promise to myself that what happened would never happen again. I made a promise to myself that I must strictly and honestly follow the rules of the pharmacy laws and use my best judgment and always do the right thing to serve the community to the best of my ability. I made myself strict rules that I must follow to make myself a better pharmacist and a good human being. These are the rules I must follow. As a pharmacist, I must act with honesty and integrity while I am performing my job as a pharmacist. I will always have the duty to tell the truth, no matter what are the consequences. As a pharmacist, I am trusted by the society, and I must honor that trust. No matter what are the circumstances, I must be always truthful with my clients. I know now, whenever I am working with my clients, our relationship must be built on honesty and truthfulness. The interest and the benefit of the patient must be above the financial rewards. Taking the ethic course was truthfully very beneficial to me. It opened my eyes to many facts of life. It made me take it upon myself to follow the rules of the law and the rules of honesty and integrity when performing my job as a pharmacist and with the society as a whole. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Jarvis, anything further on recross?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I'll check with the board to see if there's any questions. Dr. Wong, any questions?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, no, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Weiss, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Sanchez?
No, no questions.
Mr. Patel?
No questions. Thank you.
Dr. O?
No questions. Thank you.
Ms. Butler?
Yes, I just want to ask the question was at the time that all this happened, was the law of corresponding responsibility a law that you were aware of, or based on the years, it sounds like it was not something that we had on the books at that time.
No, I'm sorry.
Ms. Butler, I'm sorry. I don't know that Dr. Naman is familiar with this particular law you're referencing. Would you be able to elaborate on it a little bit more?
Yeah, we passed, there's a law of corresponding responsibility where a pharmacist has a corresponding responsibility to make sure that a prescription is written for a legitimate medical purpose. And in that, there's red flags, and we have a flyer now that the pharmacy board puts out on the things that are important to follow, and following the law of corresponding responsibility. And I know at a time back, when pharmacists were like, the doctor wrote the prescription, they filled the prescription. But I'm thinking, how many years ago did this happen, that you lost your license?
It's in January 2014.
14, okay.
And just to clarify, the incidents, I believe, occurred in August of 2010.
No, actually it was between 2006 and 2008.
We did have that law there, but obviously as a pharmacist still, when you have people coming in for the same prescription, I mean, there are things that even before the law was on the book, I always felt that that was something that pharmacists should do. But I do know that the law came about, probably after this time. So, but anyway, thank you for your testimony.
I'm sorry. Yeah. If you allow me, truthfully, honestly, I never want to break the law. What happened? I think I am. Let's say I am just a little bit of a naive person. This doctor, I spoke to him, and he said, "I am a pain management specialist, and these people are chronic users, and quite few of them they would not be able to go to work without this medication." And I took his word for it. Besides, it wasn't really many prescription I was filling, because that was a very, very busy pharmacy. It was about 400 prescriptions a day, and just a few prescriptions. I thought the doctor knew what he's doing, and I am sorry. I know it was my mistake. I use poor judgment, and I am terribly sorry about it, really.
Yes, and I hear that, and thank you for your testimony and explanation for where you are now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It has been very difficult. I tell you, it's a job I loved it so much. I loved so much to be pharmacist or work in the medical field. It was really a pleasure for me. It's unfortunate.
Dr. Serpa, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Navan, what's your understanding of the cure system, and how do you see it being used?
Well, excuse me, the cure system came basically at the very, very end. I mean, the cure system, it's online. You can check what the patients are on. I mean, what medication are they taking, and from what doctor. So it will give the pharmacy, it will give the pharmacy idea if that customer, of that client you know, if where he got his, if he going to more than one doctor, or what the medication he's taking. But this came actually when at that period of time we don't have a cure system. It came at the very end.
So now, if you were to go into practice, how would you be different in receiving those prescriptions? What steps would you take?
I tell you, I will have my eyes and my brain, and I will be so careful that it would never happen again. The mistakes that happened before, I promise to you and to God that would never happen again. I will be super careful. Actually, I'm always careful. It happened once. I am sorry that it happened.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Veal, any questions?
I just have one kind of minor question. I know you have lots and lots of CE, and most of it is registered through the CPE site. And I was thinking that the CPE site was for people who had licenses, like when you sign up, you put in your name, you put in the state, and you put in your license number. How would you, do you remember when you signed up, you know, did you have to put in a license number? So you just use your old expired license number to get in there so they could collect all these CEs?
No, I'm sorry. No, they did not ask for if your license expired or no.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lippy, any questions?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
All right, have any board members thought of any subsequent questions? All right, hearing none, Dr. Naban, you are excused as a witness. Did you wish to have your son testify on your behalf?
Yes, I should.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd be happy to give just a short statement.
If you'd raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you may put your hand down. And if you could state your name for the record one more time, please.
Sure. My first name is Haroun, Haroun. Last name is Naban, just like my father, Nabhan.
All right, so Mr. Naban, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Sure. I would like to just give a short statement on in support of the reinstation of my father's license. I understand that I am the petitioner's son, and the board may take what I have to say with a grain of salt, but I can speak from firsthand experience because I did work with my father for almost 10 years before I attended law school. My very first job was working in a pharmacy with my father. I was a delivery boy. I delivered prescriptions to our patients. Back in those days, you were able to get grandfathered in as a pharmacy technician, and so that's what I did. I worked as a pharmacy tech for I believe about 7 or 8 years. And I worked quite a bit with my father, and I got to know him as a very ethical, very careful, very conscientious pharmacist. He loved the profession. The patients that he dealt with loved him as well. We had a lot of patients. My father always worked 2 jobs pretty much when I was growing up. He worked full-time for the county, and then he worked part-time and in some private pharmacies. He would typically work part-time Thursdays and Fridays. A lot of our patients would specifically come in on Thursdays and Fridays because he was working. When he moved to another pharmacy, a lot of the patients followed him because they really loved him and they trusted him. And so I think that speaks volumes for the care and the attention that he gave the patients that he worked with. I've never known my father to cut corners or compromise his ethics to make a quick buck. That's just beyond his personality, beyond his values. He always raised me to be hardworking. He always encouraged me to become educated. He encouraged me to go to law school. He wanted me to be a pharmacist, but I ended up going in a different direction. But I have just tremendous respect and admiration for my father. He's always been a worker, always put our family before himself. He would do anything to do anything for us. And I believe that if he were given the opportunity to have his license reinstated, I 100% believe that he would discharge his duties ethically, with the utmost caution, and I believe that he would be a tremendous asset to the community. As a professional license holder myself, I understand, and I do really appreciate the role that the board plays in these types of hearings, and I understand that your duty is to make sure that the holder of a license is not a threat to, or doesn't present a danger to the public. And I 100% believe that my father would be, if he were reinstated, he would be competent, he would be ethical, he would be cautious. And so I just want to wholeheartedly express my my support for the board reinstating his pharmacy license, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you giving him the opportunity to bring this petition, and I just ask that that the board carefully consider the petition and consider his reinstatement. Thank you.
Ms. Jarvis, any questions?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so next I'll see if the board has any questions. Mr. Lippy?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Field?
Well, I just have to ask you, did you work with him at J. Scott?
I did, yes.
And any impressions of that operation?
My impressions were that it was a neighborhood pharmacy. I at the time that I worked there, I didn't observe any activities that were red flags or that that gave me pause. When prescriptions would come in, especially prescriptions for pain medications, the pharmacists would be very careful about filling those things. They wouldn't fill them early. If there were any red flags, usually a call was made to the prescribing doctor to follow up on it and to ask some questions. So I didn't work primarily in J. Scott, but I did work there at least part-time. And those were my impressions, that I didn't observe any red flags or any activities that would have been subject to discipline.
Thank you.
Dr. Serpa, any questions?
No questions.
Ms. Butler?
No questions.
Dr. O?
No questions.
Mr. Patel?
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Weiss?
No questions, Your Honor.
Dr. Wong?
No question, Your Honor.
All right. Have any board members thought of any questions in the meantime?
This is Ricardo Sanchez. I had no questions either.
Okay, I'm sorry to skip you. I had I couldn't read my writing. I'm sorry. Mr. Navan, thank you. You're excused as a witness. Dr. Navan, do you have any other evidence you'd like to present?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Jarvis, you're closing.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. And just a few things. The corresponding responsibility law was in effect at the time of the incidents. And one of the causes for discipline in this matter was actually failing to use the cures system. But the only other thing I have to say is that if the board does grant petitioner the second chance, considering that it has been more than 7 years since petitioner's license was revoked, then optional condition number 19 should be imposed as a condition of probation to require petitioner to take the NCLEX or CPJE within 1 year. Thank you. I have nothing further.
Thank you. Dr. Naban, you're closing.
Do you have anything you want to say at the end?
Well, Your Honor, I would like to say to the Board of Pharmacy, I understand it was my fault. I take full responsibility for it. Please give me the chance. We're human, and I really, if you would be kind and give me a second chance, and I will, for sure, I will prove it to you that I am a good and a decent and responsible human being.
All right, thank you. So the record's closed, the matter's submitted, and we are off the record. So I believe that concludes all the matters. So I'll turn it back to Mr. Lippy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. At this point, I'm going to thank members of the public who observed or participated in our meeting today. The board will now proceed to closed session. As indicated on the agenda, the board will convene in closed session to deliberate on disciplinary and other matters. As indicated on the agenda, the board will reconvene in open session to adjourn the meeting. That portion of the meeting will not be broadcast due to technological limitations, and no board business will be conducted. Thank you again for participating today. We will be terminating the WebEx now to allow members to convene in closed session. And members, I hope you all received the information about the WebEx that we are now going to for our closed session. If not, please contact Debbie Damath. I also want to say that I've had a request to have a 10-minute break between now and closed session. So I'm going to allow that. So we will reconvene at 2:16. Thank you.
Debbie, I don't remember seeing it. Debbie, if you had a chance, please resend it to me. Thank you.
Yeah, Debbie, send it to me too. I don't think I have it. Thanks.
We can possibly miss you, Ricardo.
Well, he must feel like,
Except for Albert, don't send it to Albert.
Ricardo, you must feel like a ghost. I skipped over you, and so did